Hello there, FFTCG community. I'm Judge Jared, and as you can see, I am not alone today. I am not alone. I've got a couple of fantastic co-hosts with me here, who are both excellent players and even more fantastic people. So let me start off by introducing them to you. So we've got Markus Reichart here with me. Why don't you say hi, Marcus? Yeah,
Hello.
thanks for being here and part of this. And then
I'm happy to be here.
along with Marcus, we've got Alex Early. Hello, Alex.
Hi, nice to be here.
Yeah. So we got three of us here, and this is, if you've clicked on this video already, then you know that this is the Warring Triad. So naturally, your first question might be, what is the Warring Triad? I'll give you a brief explanation on that. Um, it's kind of a bit of a in-joke here for those of us on the West Coast. You might have noticed by now that you have myself from the Seattle area, Alex from the Bay Area in California, and then Marcus from Portland. And so the in-joke here was that we basically represent the three uh, kind of largest play groups, I would say, on the West Coast here, making up those West Coast states. And, as is the case with FFTCG, it's a great community and we're all friends with each other, but obviously there's little, intergroup rivalries and stuff. So we're all friends, but, also at the tournaments, we're definitely cheering on ourselves and our own locals, and so it's that kind of fun, friendly rivalry. And so we're thinking about the three groups we have here on the West Coast and how to represent that idea. And so the idea came up of the Warring Triad from, if you're not familiar, from Final Fantasy VI. And so we were like, oh, that's kind of cute. We have three different groups here. We could be the Warring Triad. That's kind of a fun little name. And so it's not something that's universal by any means yet, but maybe we'll get there. I don't know. But we brought it up to the different play groups and stuff. So we have kind of unofficially Marcus representing the Portland Fiends, and then Alex there from the Bay Area Goddesses, and then that leaves me to represent the Seattle Demons. So we have our Warring Triad represented there. So anyway, that's why the Warring Triad. So now you've got the explanation. But what are we here to talk about today? Well, the thing that these two lovely people have in common, one of the things they have in common, is that they were both representatives for North America at the 2025 World Tournament in Tokyo. I told you they were good players. And so we're here to talk about their experience because, you know, for all of us who have played everything from LQs on up to Nats, it's very, very hard to make it to Worlds. It's something that most people that try don't get to experience. And so I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk with both of them about their experiences throughout the 2025 season leading up to and including Worlds here, just to kind of talk about that and reflect on it. I know we're a little bit past Worlds at this point, but sometimes that extra time past something can help with really solidifying the kind of reflection on the experience. So I've done enough talking for now. So we're going to start off with Marcus here. And so Marcus, what would be great to hear is kind of, in the story that leads up to and ends with Worlds, obviously you had a whole season before that of however many events you played in, and so obviously there could be ups and downs in that, but would love to kind of hear the story of kind of how your season went, up before the whole Worlds thing.
Yeah, so it was a really, really long and grindy season. For many that played in last year's competitive season, the first half of the season was dominated by Unidex, and the first major event of the season was the San Francisco Materia Cup. Me and a few friends, some local playtesters, some people from Dallas, um, came up with a unilist that ended up performing pretty okay into that event. It was far from what you would see as the ideal unilist for that format, but um, it ended up having an impact that was unexpected for sure. Um, at that event, I ended up placing in top 16, but not quite making it to the point of getting an invite to nationals at that event. Their own Ray Grimes won that
Mm-hmm.
event, and it was fantastic with a very, very unique iteration of Knights,
Oh yeah.
as he is prone to do.
Yeah,
Um,
he's known for that at this point.
he sure is, and So
Is that who knocked
that
you out
was
in top
kind of like
16, or?
no, I got knocked out of top 16. Funny enough, by one of the people playing the same deck as me. It was a mirror
Oh,
match in top 16,
oh, geez.
unfortunately, and just how the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was kind of the cornerstone at the start of the format that like led to a series of long playtest sessions, lots of deck building, lots of brewing. Um, I mean, I went to I think 6 LQs and 2 Materia Cups. So not the most, but not the least, right?
yeah. That's a lot of events.
In
So
fact, one of the first LQs of the season that I played in, I believe, was the Zulu LQ, and I actually think I played you at that event.
yeah, we played in the last round of Swiss.
Yeah, we did, and I barely bubbled out of that one. We ended up that weekend traveling to Idaho the next day for an LQ,
Mhm,
and I ended up taking first at that event. And that's where I ended up getting my invite was at the Idaho LQ.
mhm. It's a hell of a bounce back,
Um,
right, from bubbling out to
yeah,
getting the invite. So especially at such
for
competitive,
sure.
you and I both know that the Pacific Northwest LQs are are not an easy day.
Everybody's trying really hard, I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, from there I ended up getting my invite, and then I kind of focused on helping my friends get their invites as best I could with playtesting, theory talk, and just working on our skills. And we ended up sending a total of I think 9 players from Portland to nationals.
yeah, that's super impressive.
As for Nats itself, it was interesting going into that event. I took
You
a
played in, so wait, just to take you back for a second here. So
yeah,
so you also played in obviously the Portland Materia Cup, right?
I did, and I placed top 8 of that event as well.
Were you playing
Again,
still
I
playing Unistuff was she was
Una
restricted by that
had been
point? Yeah,
restricted
yeah.
by that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Una was restricted by
So
that
what were you
point.
on for that one?
I was playing Warriors.
Hmm.
With the release of Opus 26, I believe it was for that tournament. As
Yeah.
Portland is always the first Materia Cup after the second set release of the year. Um,
The Wild West, we like to call it.
we had a bunch of new Warrior support between Volker and Naji and Iron Eater, just like all kinds of phenomenal cards.
Yeah, I remember there's a lot of people like trying to find out the just the right uh what's the word I'm looking for? Like the right amount of copies of each of those. Like, how many,
Mhm.
what was the sauce
The ratio.
basically? Yeah, the ratio. There we go.
Yeah,
Thank you, Alex.
and
I
I
was
think,
like, I'll get to the word
and I don't,
eventually.
yeah, and I don't think there was one correct answer to that.
Mm,
It really came down to a matter of play style. I was a big proponent of I don't need EX bursts if I'm not going to get hit, and so I opted to like play a more balanced spread of backups rather than just throwing 3 Naji in my deck because it was an EX burst, right?
that's fair. Yeah.
Um, at that event, weirdly enough, I only played 2 Tyvis in my deck because I was playing a Ferris centric deck. So
Mm,
there's 2 Tyvis and 2 Axstar in my list for that event.
uh-huh.
And the whole goal was to abuse the Ferris early in the control matchups and abuse Tyvis early in everything else.
Hmm.
Ferris letting you deploy Zidane on as soon as turn 2 with Lena in play really made a difference in matchups like Refia and Chark, where you needed to disrupt their setup. Um, I actually ended up losing to Estelle, Helvetica Standard, in
Mm.
the top, I think it was top 8 of that tournament.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Uh, and they went on to get into the finals where they played against Ryan Chen. They ended up losing to Ryan Chen, but because Ryan had already received his invite from I believe it was from Chicago at that point, um, his grade 2 invite or grade 1 invite, I forget how it's
It's
tiered. If it's
grade
1 is the
grade grade
lower
one's the
one.
paid one, so grade two is
Okay,
the
grade 2
grade,
invite
yeah,
passed down to
to Estelle.
Helvetica
Yeah.
for Worlds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, to Estelle for Worlds. And so they got their Worlds invite there, and I was primed and ready to accompany them, and I
Yes.
just needed to get my invite right.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so from
So
there,
that
we
leads you to Nats, yeah.
right, yeah, and for Nats, I took Warriors and Mono Earth. Kind of funny because it was a very common and popular pairing for Nationals the previous year. Um, my Mono Earth list was a little bit different. It had pretty heavy water package because I was opting to have the ability to play Titus in circumstances where I didn't even have Leo in play, utilizing there's 2 Une, 3 Warrior of Light, 2 Cancel Leviathan,
Oh, that's
and
sneaky.
2 Fusoya in the deck, giving me a higher water count on average. And it actually came up in a round where I knew my opponent's interaction was an Odin to try to cut me off of water CP by killing my Leo before I could pay for Titus.
Yeah.
And I just discarded 2 water cards to pay the cost, things like that.
I was thinking, what a jump scare, right? Because your opponent is like, okay, cool, I just saved myself. Leo's out of here, haha, and you're like, no, I'm good. we're gonna resolve this Titus after all. Yeah.
It was a really fun match, but it actually was interesting because Warriors was my deck of comfort for the last 2 years, and it was definitely the deck I felt I had the best chances with overall. So I ended up playing Mono Earth for the first 4 rounds of Swiss. I went 4-0 with it in 4 rounds. And then in the last 4 rounds, I was playing Warriors, and I actually ended up going 2-2 with Warriors, with some losses that felt kind of unfortunate, but also playing against some of the best players in the nation. Also undefeated players at that point in time. My losses in Swiss came to KP in round 5. I believe it was round 5. And then no, it was round 6. We were both 5-0. And then my second loss came to I forget his name. He was playing Firewater Monsters, and he had far more Ifrits than I did, and it really made a big difference.
Okay.
But I ended up getting into top cut at X2. And my top 16 matchup I played against some interesting decks. Lost that match, ended up going into the lower bracket, and then had to grind my way through some very strong opponents, He, Sergio Bravo, and ended up coming all the way up to play against Alex for the top 4 position.
Hey, we know that guy.
We were in 6th place tied and needed to play for top 4, and it was very interesting 3 turns of gameplay. Sometimes 2 aggressively slanted fire decks just behave that way, right?
Yeah. You would expect explosions from that much fire, right? So.
Exactly, yeah. And Alex, not a spoiler, I guess, but ended up winning that match and earning his top 4 placement, regardless of how the rest of that went for him. I'll let him tell you about that.
Yeah.
Ended up earning his trip to Worlds, and I ended up getting a pass down invite for a grade 2 invite to Worlds because both Ryan and KP already had grade 2 invites. And those were 2 of the other top 4 contestants, Ryan, KP, Cody Snodgrass, and our lovely Alex Early.
Yeah. Now, at the time you were playing that match, was it known at that point to you guys that the 2 of them were in the top? Like, was it known there was going to be a pass down when you guys were playing each other, or no?
Yeah, there was some discussion about the fact that KP and Ryan were both in top 4, so there would be a pass down 2 places. So regardless of which one of us made it to top 4, we knew we were both going to Worlds.
Yeah. It changes the feeling a little bit. Obviously, there's a big difference there between grade 1 and grade 2, but
it was one of those things going into the match where I was like, I don't want to celebrate yet until I hear officially that this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But then the moment that I heard, I looked at Marcus like, we're going to.
It was a similar thing, just to kind of go back when we were with the pass down to Helvetica, when we were like, we were fairly certain the World's invite will pass down, and there's that sort of, well, we don't want to say anything yet, like as far on the judging side of things. We were like, we don't want to say anything yet until we know for sure, because we don't want to be like, hey, look, you qualified, and then find out, oh, there's actually some weird loophole because it's a World's invite. And then once we heard back from Sarah, then getting to be like, pass down, so that they got to know before the match even started that they'd earned the invite, which definitely is super exciting.
It was incredibly exciting.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for that whole summary there and everything. Just kind of given the series of events leading up and through Nats, and so that does, since we have Alex at the end of your story, that does segue perfectly into Alex giving us his version of events of how your season went in 2025.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. 2025 started with hosting events. So we did the Winter Cup, on the West Coast for the first time, which was really amazing. And I had a pleasure of being able to host everybody, and then do it again 2 months afterwards at the San Francisco Materia Cup, where Ray won. So woohoo, let's go.
Yep.
So I ended up hosting it, couldn't play in it, but all was fine. In essence, the amount of events that I played in 2025, it was 2 Materia Cups and 3 LQs.
Okay.
So I played, what is it? My first event was an LQ at Destine Fantasy Games in
Alameda.
Yes, Alameda. Thank you. And that's where I think I played, or was it that the first one? I think actually the first one, sorry, if I remember correctly, was Chicago. And then I think I played Yuna. I started playing Earth, Water, Cecil Yuna.
I know you were both Yuna gamers last year.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah, that my the decks I brought were definitely Yuna. Actually, I think now that I remember correctly, the first LQ was in Fresno, California,
Oh, okay.
and at Ender's Games, and I think that's where I took Yuna for the first time, and I learned a lot in that event. And though I didn't make it to the end, Julian was so close. He got second place. Yeah, but I did learn a lot playing that deck at the LQ. Ended up taking it then to the Chicago Materia Cup, and then didn't do too hot.
Oh no, what happened?
At least I don't think so.
Or have you
It's
just
been a
blocked it out
while.
of your mind at this point? You're
I
just like,
should
nah, things were better
I
after
should be
that
better
point.
at writing notes and like keeping track of things.
Well, I
I
didn't tell you back then. I didn't know myself back then that we'd be having this conversation. We're like, by the way, make sure to write everything down.
I should do that for the
For this
future,
year.
just in case,
Yeah.
because you never
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I think actually, yeah, the when I was playing in the Chicago Materia Cup, I think I ended up in like 40th place, so I didn't make day 2. Julian did though, so that was fun.
That's
But
good.
yeah, essentially, I was playing Yuna, and it just wasn't giving me the results that I was looking for.
Okay.
Even though like you have Aikido in like the Midwest,
Oh,
who was just
yes.
like, "This is my 7th LQ trophy."
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just like,
just Infinity Stones
"Can I
over
have one,
there.
please?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Did you play
So
in
I
the?
mean,
Because that Chicago was the one that had the LQ on the second day, right?
it did have the LQ
Did
on
you
the
play
second
in
day.
that
Yes,
as
I
well?
did play. I did, and I also took Yuna again, I think, and I just no. I think
Okay.
I lost round 1, and then I was like, oh, okay, well, that was
Oh.
fun. I think Kat and I just got coffee afterwards,
Oh, okay.
and we called
Did
it a day.
Did you break up with Yuna at that point, or did you refine more, or
um,
what did you do deck
n-
wise?
I think I just ended up. Uh, I was just like, you're great, clearly, but you're just not the right woman for me. So, um, I
It's
ended
not
up.
you, it's me.
It's not you,
Yeah.
it's me. So because I mean, obviously, like she had an incredible impact on the meta last
Yeah.
year. You saw regions just being swept by this deck. So, like clearly something was working. It just it wasn't clicking for me. So, I opted to not play Yuna for the second event, which was the that one was the LQ at Destine Fantasy Games
Okay.
in Alameda. And for that one, I ended up taking Water Lightning Monsters because Water Lightning Monsters, Ray was playing Water Lightning Monsters at Chicago. And then also Ryan, I think, won Chicago with Water Lightning Monsters.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
either
he
it
did.
might have been not St. Louis, Kansas City maybe was the one that he won. I can't remember, but yeah. But I was gonna
Well,
say as soon as he said Water Lightning
I'm pretty
Monsters.
sure. Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
go
pretty
ahead.
sure it was
Go.
Ryan that won Chicago
Oh,
because
was it? Okay.
I'm pretty sure Ray Chow won the LQ on the second day,
Yeah, he
and I
did.
remember it being a
Oh,
case of
that's
Seattle
right.
winning both events.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
You totally reminded me now. Maybe I'm thinking of the year before. Maybe that was the year that Ryan won Kansas City or something. But no, as soon as you mentioned Water Lightning Monsters, I was like, oh, the Scourge of the Pacific Northwest. Like it was. In fact,
and
the first LQ that I was involved with, the finals was between Nolan from Portland and Ryan, and it was a Water Lightning Monsters mirror match, and it's actually too bad that event was not streamed because it was actually an incredibly fun mirror match to watch, and I think they both afterwards said it was like a fun match to play in, and you would think that the mirror match would be like terrible, like it'd just be like like not a fun experience, but it was actually really incredible watching the two of them going back and forth with that. But anyway, so yeah, another deck that's done really well out west.
Yes. So I decided to take it to the LQ. I did make top cut, but I did not cinch out the invite. So I ended up, I think, taking it again for the third LQ I went to, which was Games of Berkeley in Berkeley, California. And it just didn't work out for me. It was, last year was definitely a year of self-discovery in terms of like decks.
Okay.
And the two decks that was working great for other people just wasn't meshing. So, the next event that I was looking forward to was the Portland Materia Cup. And that's when I just kind of said, you know what? I wash my hands of making a decision. And so I did the unorthodox thing of just basically asking Julian and Ray, like, what should I play? And they both were like, let's think about it and then we'll get back to you. And then they got back to me.
Okay.
And I ended up with a Wool 7 list. And that's what I ended up taking to Portland. I think at the time, that's when the new set dropped. And Sylvester was a card that leaked for that set. So
a lot of people learned what Sylvester did that weekend.
Yes, they did.
If they didn't know already, but
I think our area, our little playgroup was definitely impressed with that card being like a unique way to cheat out 3 costs, since it was not relegated to simply light forwards. So the fact that it could search Warrior of Light as well as play an off-color 3 costs like a Mog or a Y'shtola. At the time, we thought that power play was like really strong, and it would help protect Wool 7 from like cancel summons, which definitely came in handy in the Portland Materia Cup. So yeah, so I took Wool 7 to Portland Materia Cup, and that was, I think, the first weekend that I genuinely played with the deck. I had some experience playing with it without the new cards, but I was just more so like, if I think at that point I was like, if it happens, it happens, and it did. It felt great. So I definitely will say. Going forward from this point, like a lot of my victories getting to worlds were definitely lucky. So at the end of the day, I recognize that this is a card game and there's only so much that I can control. And I think that's where I began to be like, sometimes I just lose and then sometimes I win. And when that happens, I just got to capitalize as much as I can.
Yeah, for sure.
So I ended up getting day 2 at Portland Materia Cup and made it all the way to top 4. But in my top 8 match, I ended up playing against Julian, and then that was streamed.
Yeah, I was gonna say on stream, no less. So that's good.
Yeah, and it's always a really fun time playing against my very good friend from San Francisco. So that's an inside joke for those who know. But afterwards, I won that one, and then I went to go play Ryan, who was on Chark, and I'm on Wool 7. So I was like, this is tough.
Yeah, talk about Warring Triad. So Ryan ran through you in top 4, and then ran through Helvetica in the finals.
I was like, oh, okay, this is happening.
Every time that sort of stuff happens, I have to point out to people, I'm like, you see what I have to deal with every week?
It was also the second year in a row that Ryan won PDX.
Yes. Yep.
Oh yeah, you're right.
He won it last year with Mono Earth, beating in the top 4.
Seattle's gotten pretty lucky at Portland because it was not It was the re-raise year was the year that Ray, Seattle Ray, not Bay Area Ray,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that Seattle Ray won the re-raise event that was in Portland as well at Epic. So it's been kind to some of our top Seattle players.
Nice.
But yeah, and so both you and Julian got your Nats invites at that one, right?
Yeah, so we sat at the top at the stream table. We were getting ready to play, and then someone made the announcement. Everyone who's still playing, congratulations, you have your invite. And it was just like,
yeah, I seem to remember that was the way it worked out. It
okay.
was like exactly enough pass downs that when we hit top 8, it was like,
Yeah,
oh, we can just tell everybody that guess what? If you haven't qualified already, you have now.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
yes,
four of the top 8 already had their invites.
yeah, so it's
yeah,
nice when it's a nice clean one there, and like it's not the 7 of you are gonna have them, so don't like
yeah,
the extra stress on that one person. I felt really bad
yeah.
at this is gonna be a little sidetrack here, but not last year, but the year before at Nats with the way that they worked out the Worlds invites there, where it was like top 12, I think, for day 2, and like
Yep.
there was that first round of like 4 people got eliminated, but like the top 8 all made it to Worlds, I think. So it was that sort of like you just had to like survive that first round on day 2, and I'm like, oh man, that's such a feels bad if you make it to day 2 and then you get eliminated right away. And you're like, I was like right at that edge there, like just far enough to be excited about day 2, but then like that crash. I'm glad they changed that for the year afterwards. It just real feels bad. Anyway, I cut you off there.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. um, so Portland ended in success. Especially because Julian and I were like, oh, we gotta get our invite. Like, we gotta join Ray, who already like pioneered his way, like it was nobody's business in the very first event. So it's just like, all right, we gotta make this. So we did it, and fortunately for us, that was Portland was our meal ticket into Nats. Which ended up being the next event that we both played in. For Nats, I kind of just did the same thing again, where I was just like, I'm gonna leave the decision of what I play not up to me, and so at first. There were a lot of suggestions because I did still want to play Wool 7. But then there were things like, well, you could pair it with Chark. You could pair it with I forgot what else. At the time, it could be like Mono Ice or something like that. And then there was a lot of things being thrown my way, suggestion wise, and I was hearing them out, but it didn't feel very like good to me. My record with Chark is very hit or miss in terms of me playing it for myself. So I was like, I don't know if I know that that's like the easy pairing. I don't know if that's something that I wanted to play. But on a quick side note, I just remembered that there was one other event before. Well, actually, sorry, I forget the other event that happened right before Nats was the LQ at King Kong.
Oh,
King
okay,
Kong
yeah,
Comics and Games.
yeah.
But I think I hosted that one again. So I think I was getting confused. I was like,
That's
did I
right.
play?
You had
I don't.
bookends there of the beginning of the season, end of season hosting at KK, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, I think now. Wait, hold on. Now I'm trying to remember if I did. Oh no, I did. I did play. I
Okay,
did.
never mind.
I did play. I completely forgot the deck that I played was the Arden Roulette deck.
Oh, okay, yeah, because that was right around
Yeah,
when
that
Alex
yeah that
Hancox
got
was playing it,
showcased.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah.
So then, what did
Which
you?
was an amazing deck.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Like it was so
So
much fun. Uh,
what did the group think land on for your Nats decks then? After all of that,
right. Yeah. So after the what is it? The KK side quest. At Nats, still thinking about a deck. I did want to take Wool 7. I decided to go with a comfort pick, and for me that was Mono Earth at the time. So the thing is, though, I'm playing Wool 7, which means that my top end is not Warrior of Light. And so when I told Julian and Ray, they were like,
Marcus, you got to hold those up a little bit higher to be on where.
Nah,
I know
it's fine.
that.
"Wait,
There's
what are
just
you holding up like that?"
It's an Easter egg.
Okay, there we go.
Oh yeah, so they looked at me and they're just like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, "I know." But I decided to have my top end just be Fusoya. Since some iterations were cutting it, so that way it was a little bit more ergonomic for like mono earth plays. I ended up just kind of having Fusoya as my top end.
So you had kind of a different
and though
reason
it
for
doesn't,
including it than what Marcus did, which is interesting. Because like for you were looking at the top end, and he
yeah,
was doing it to have more.
Thinking back on it, I think I actually didn't include Fusoya until Worlds after seeing Alex play it.
I see.
I did have other water cards in place. I think I was playing like Garnet and something else.
Yes,
in place of the Fusoyas, but I did include Fusoyas at Worlds.
Yeah, and I do remember that you did make that change.
You
But
showed him
yeah,
the power of the Fusoya in that mono earth deck, apparently.
Well, because the mono earth in its like very very early iterations when MSL came out and all that stuff, I feel like it was like playing Fusoya, and then like it just stopped playing Fusoya because I think better cards for like the mono earth game plan came out. So me bringing it back kind of felt like a throwback. But surprisingly it did do its job pretty well. Like it kind of felt like an additional Tidus LB.
It really helps you beat up on the control decks.
Which is nice. But actually that aspect is going to bite me in the butt at my last match for Nats. My record was at Nats was, I think I went X1
in Swiss.
I think so.
That's
Yeah,
hard to do. Everybody at Nats was talking about how hard that room was. Like,
See, I should write this down. I need to do that this year.
Someone's gonna
I think I
check
went
you.
X1. I know. Actually, I think I probably actually went X2.
Okay.
But I was a very high X2 because I remember I definitely lost to KP. I don't remember who my other loss was. But all that being said,
so did everybody.
Yes, I got to day 2, and then my day 2 opponents, I fought against Tin Tran from Texas, and then I fought another Texas player who played a mono ice deck very wonderfully, and I was very impressed by it. And for the life of me, I lament not remembering his name.
Oh, no. But
but
just
then
beating up on Texas, man.
It's Christian Amador. He beat me in top 16.
Okay.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. Yes, so that was a very wonderful match. I really liked it. I had very wonderful matches that weekend. Everybody plays very well. It's always a pleasure to play against everybody. Disclaimer. And then and then afterwards, the next person I played against was KP. Yes, I played against KP. Did I play against KP? Anyway, I lost. And then I went to go play with Marcus. And that was fun.
That was right when you went down to the lower bracket. Was Marcus right away?
Yeah, because I won the top 16 match, and then I won the top 8 match. I lost the top,
so it was in top
4 match.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. And then I lost. And then I barely managed to take it against Marcus. And then I fought against Ryan for after I after I played against Marcus, and that's where the Fusoya thing kind of bit me in the butt because I should have probably tested it a lot more in the against the Chark matchup, but I wasn't doing that. So
that's the thing about Ryan is if any little mistake or misplay or not playing efficient against Ryan, he will punish you for. So that's just the hallmark of really great players. So it's hard to
yes.
You can't give many windows there.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I also can't complain. It's always you always learn something playing people of
the high caliber,
that top caliber. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So and then that was Nats, and I got 4th place, which still feels crazy. I'm like, did this happen? Man, I'm still very thankful and humbled that happened, but yeah. I take nothing for granted, and I definitely couldn't have gotten that far without literally everybody's help. So yeah.
Yeah, I think there's probably a common theme there with both of you about, especially what Marcus was saying earlier about how many Portland players qualified. That it's like a lot of times you'll see players who get this far. That kind of, it's definitely kind of being lifted up by your play group in the sense of like who you're around and the experiences you get with practicing and talking through things and stuff. And I think it's really it's such a huge like resource and benefit to have such a strong community to both to practice with and bounce ideas off of. And so it's awesome to be able to then kind of represent your area because of kind of that the collective everything that goes into that. Obviously it's an individual achievement, but as you were just saying, Alex, it's it comes from kind of that the it doesn't happen in a vacuum, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So.
Yeah. And honestly, to elaborate on that point, like, to be fair, in recognizing that, I think that's why I started naming all my decks like my friends' names. Because, if it wasn't for Ray, if it wasn't for Julian, like, I would still probably be like on the drawing board figuring out like maybe this would be a good deck to play.
Yeah.
But no, literally just kind of like leaving my fate in the hands of my friends. The power of friendship works, guys.
Yes.
That's literally what last year felt like for me. So that is forever I think a contributing factor to 2025 success for me. And in recognizing that, I hope that can continue for this competitive season if we have one.
So you both come out of that event. You both qualified for Worlds. There's that
did
little.
I freeze?
Oh, did we lose him?
No.
Oh no!
You're
Did
still
we
there.
lose him?
We might have lost him. I heard a little bit of chatter on his.
I can still hear both of you
on his audio right before you started back in, and it looks like his frame is frozen.
Oh, okay.
Did I cut out?
Yeah, I heard you the whole time.
I think
there,
you're here.
Alex.
I don't think you disconnected. I think it was him.
Well, I'm going to take this time to actually charge my phone. The charger I put my phone in has no battery, so give me a second. Oopsies! Simple foresight.
Oh, all right. You got tech. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, yep. We can hear you now.
Okay, that's weird. The whole time I didn't lose you guys. I could hear you guys, and I thought.
Okay, what? That's so
that's
weird.
Funny.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying. I thought you were saying that Alex froze, and I'm like, no, I can still hear him. I can see. And then I realized after a bit, I'm like, oh, none of you are all responding to me. You're talking to each other. Okay. No, so we haven't. All right. For those of you who are watching this, obviously this is all uncut because you just got that whole bit there.
At least
anyway,
it was only like 20 seconds or so.
Yeah. So we're doing it live. Anyway, so we come out of Nats and excitement all around for both of you. You both qualified, and Alex is now upside down.
Oh man! Give me a second. Let me change orientation.
Just leave it like that. It looks great. There you go. Right?
Oh my god! Oh wait, hold on.
There you go.
Sorry, I had to add.
We are professionals. So we come out of that, and then there's so it's about 2.5 months between then and Worlds, and of course during that period of time we're starting to get spoilers. In fact, I think even at Nats we started to get spoilers because I remember like the Cecil got spoiled at Nats. That's the one that sticks out to me. The light Cecil.
The light Cecil got spoiled.
So so we don't have to go too in depth on this, but like what was your guys' experience like in the gap then there before Worlds in terms of like after Nats, did you kind of take a break for a little bit because of all the grind leading up to it, or like were you paying attention closely to the spoilers as they came out, or were you just waiting till the whole set came like dropped to kind of really start to dig back in, or what was that experience like? And you can either one of you just go on ahead.
At least on my side of things, there were some spoilers that definitely guided some of my decision making around playtesting for the event. Being that I was heavily invested into Warriors, the inclusions of the new Ice Warriors gave Warriors a new direction that they could play that was viable outside of just like leaning into the fire water pile that it was. My playtest group didn't fall apart by any means. There was definitely a lot of support from my local area in helping me and Helvetica get ready for the event. But at the end of the day, the majority of my testing came from playtesting with Helvetica specifically. And I ended up kind of trying a lot of different stuff. I was really interested in a few decks like Sky Pirates and whatnot, but I couldn't find any iteration that I really felt comfortable with when making these tests. And I ended up just bringing the same decks that I played at Nationals. The only difference was instead of it being Fire Water Warriors, I played Fire Ice Warriors.
Got it. Okay. Was there much of a change to the mono Earth deck? I mean, you added the Fusoyas in, but like, was there anything...
The addition of the Fusoya was the only real change to the main deck. Outside of, like, there's definitely other things I could have done. So I missed some things testing. My Ice Fire Warriors list didn't have Zonde, Clive Ifrit, or Seymour in it. It was like the list I think had like 26 or 28 warriors. It was very much an aggressively slanted warrior list that leaned on Ish to gain a tempo advantage and kind of snowball games. And it kind of did that for the most part. My record overall was kind of flip-flopped from how it was at Nationals, with me just barely missing out on trying to get into top 8.
Yeah. Well, and we'll cover that more in depth when we get to the tournament itself. But and then for you, Alex, were you paying much attention to the spoilers, or were you giving yourself kind of a mental break after Nats? Or
let's see. After Nats, I definitely took a break, just a little bit, because I was like, this grind was a lot, and I deserve a little me time.
Yep.
And life is all about balance. That's my motto when it comes to this. So I took a little bit of a break, but I was keeping an eye on spoilers just to have an idea of what interested me, what seemed good, and having discussions with my team. For the most part, though, similar to how I handled my last 2 successes, I just decided to still say, this isn't in my hands, it's in yours. So I had someone else make the decision for me.
It was working so well for you so far, right? You know, why change the formula?
To be honest, yeah. And so the thing is, though, is that so now I'm playtesting with Ray, and Ray, who has his grade 2 invite because of the win at Materia Cup, we were able to like really dig deep in terms of what we wanted to play. And of course, we had like it was both he and I and Julian, of course, to really think of something that would just kind of take us to the end of Worlds and really get us there. So we did a lot of brainstorming. I should say, Julian and Ray did a lot of brainstorming. I'm just the pretty pilot, and they ended up settling that Warriors was just the well-off, all-around good deck, and that a version of that should be played at Worlds. And I was already of the mindset that I didn't want to play Wool 7, and Ray didn't want to take his like Warrior Knights fusion list. So the decision on that, though, was that Warriors was still good in its pure form, and with the additional support it got, most notably like through the Ice Warriors like Yish, Call, and Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was definitely a fun card to play and have been introduced in the format as like an additional outlet for Warriors game plans and the archetype overall. So we decided to create this 4-color warrior combination, and we liked it. So yeah, for sure. It ended up working out. And then the second deck that we chose was if we have this mid-rangey deck, the next thought was, well, we shouldn't necessarily have something that's the same speed. So we opted for something a little faster, and thinking about anticipating what would be played at Worlds, especially because the conversations at the time were really high on like Earth Wind category 12. they were like, well, something fast would be nice. And if that is the deck that everybody's talking about, then like what would be really good against it? And so arguably the best aggro deck at the time, and most likely still is now, is Knights, just in terms of like its top end being very strong. And so we decided to take Knights with us. So our final two decks that we decided were 4-color Warriors and Knights.
Okay.
Warriors was deck A and Knights was deck B. So that was what we decided. And then we both essentially ran the same decks.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So then, all right, so that's the process leading up to it, and then how about though that leads up to you guys actually going out to Tokyo. So so like what sort of lead time did both of you guys give yourselves in terms of, you know, arriving in Tokyo compared to when the tournament was there?
Yeah, so we decided to make a really big trip out of it, and we wanted 1 week buffer before the tournament. So we left Black Friday,
Okay.
and we got to Tokyo on that Saturday, and we basically spent that week in Akihabara, and that was a very like prime location in terms of we had been talking about what decks to take to Nats or to Worlds, but in terms of solidifying what that list looked like, that was a last minute
Okay,
decision.
so you were still refining. You brought like the sideboard
We
cards
yeah
set aside
we
from
brought
when you were there.
we brought the what is it? We brought the like the core, and then we were like, if we really need anything else additionally, we are in the best place
To go buy
to
singles.
possibly get those
Yeah.
singles. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Like we brought as much as we can. The limitation being that because you're traveling, like you can't bring all your cards. That would be very expensive.
Yeah.
And we just kind of made do with what we had available. Decided the ratios the day of deck submission, and went to go procure those cards. But then I found out that I did not bring a limit break heretical night garland. And I had submitted that on my list. So I was screwed because by the time I found out, I was already in Shibuya. And it was the night before, literally hours before. And I was like, all right, Team North America, does anybody have an extra limit break heretical night garland? And lo and behold, fortunately, KP did have an extra.
Oh,
So,
KP, the hero.
shout out, thank you for that again. I am very thankful, and it's because of you that I did.
There
I
we
was
go.
able to play and not have
Yeah.
a penalty. So, yeah, that's a very fun and endearing story that I can say. So,
For sure. Markus,
yeah.
how about you? What was your timeline like arriving in Tokyo?
So it was definitely ambitious.
Okay.
We left Tuesday, the week prior to the event, got there on Wednesday.
Yeah.
You know, because of the time difference.
Right.
And so I had 2 days to acclimate prior to Worlds. And fortunately that's not that hard for me. I you know, the first night there I went to bed at like 6:30 or 7 o'clock or something. The second night I went to bed at like 8:30 or 9. And on game day I was fine. It was like, I don't know, I just function okay on limited sleep sometimes. And it wasn't particularly impactful getting there when I did, fortunately. So we got there, like I said, we traveled in the middle of the week, saved money on flights.
Yeah. I left
We
on Wednesday,
got
so I
there.
know exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
exactly.
So
Got there in the middle of the week. The tournament went, went the way it did, and then we stayed. Well, so we were in Tokyo. We stayed in Wakoshi, which was like a half hour away from the event center. But it was just outside of Tokyo. And we spent that first week from that Wednesday when we got there till Tuesday the next week in Tokyo. And then we had another week that we spent in Osaka.
nice.
The after the event, which was a lot of fun, where we actually had to see Alex and Julian for a lot to trip, and we got to do a lot of cool stuff together. It was so much fun.
Oh, cool.
That was so awesome.
Glad to
I
hear
was
it.
so
I didn't
happy that
realize
we
you
were able
guys
to like meet
had
up.
all connected up.
So. Yeah, it was
Heck
very.
Yeah, I mean, you're in Japan. You have to.
Yeah, it was. It felt like a serendipitous moment because we didn't really plan being in Osaka at the same time. It just kind of worked out that way that we would both be there for that same week.
Nice. So Alex mentioned that he was still finalizing things. Were you pretty locked in on your lists before you flew out?
I had sent my list in the first day.
That's true. There was a deadline. That's right.
Available. The first day that they let us send in submissions, I sent my deck list in. I was locked in.
All right. There's probably like a comfort in that, right? Because you're just like, well, it is what it is at this point.
You just enjoy yourself.
Like whatever happens, if I'm practicing this list. There's no more like what's changing or whatever. Right? So.
Like, now that it's been 2 months since Worlds, I definitely, in retrospect, wish I'd played Water Lightning Monsters as my second deck over Mono Earth. And I think it would have done better for me, at least. Especially with all the playing because I've done a lot of games with Water Lightning Monsters since then, and I like that deck a lot. Turns out,
you got corrupted by all those monsters up in Northwest, huh?
You know what? I can only play against it so many times before you just kind of know how to play the deck.
That's true.
And we have dedicated Monsters players in our local area, and up in Seattle, there's several of them, and I can't get away from it. And playing with and against Realm is just part of the job at this point.
There you go.
Yep.
All right, so that leads us into the tournament. Since we got you already going, Marcus, why don't you tell us kind of what your experience was like playing at Worlds?
So it was interesting. The tournament was ran really well. The space we had to play in wasn't the largest, but it felt like it was the right size for the number of players we had. The only real issue is just so warm. They keep the internals of buildings in Japan quite warm, especially in the winter. It'll be 40 degrees outside. It might be 75 inside. So you get ready for traveling in the cold. You're bundled up. You're all warm, but you make sure you're wearing layers because it was very warm in there when there was, upwards of 200 people in that room at one point, between people on the side that weren't playing, judge staff, Square Enix staff, and then 58 participants or whatever. There was a lot of people in that room. For the actual tournament itself, I played Mono Earth in the first half again, like I did last time at Nats, and then played Warriors in the second half. Mono Earth did okay. It had shortcomings in matchups where it just didn't go as big as the other deck, and it had some strengths in matchups where like cards like Shantoto just are really impactful and pivotal. So I ended up going 2-2 with Mono Earth. In the second half, playing Ice Fire Warriors, I had a wonderfully inspired conversation with Alex prior to the last 4 rounds, where he made some very, very, very kind comments regarding my abilities to play Warriors, and I ended up going 3. Oh, did I lose audio?
Yeah, you did actually. So let's go back there for a second. I think you stopped it around when you were saying you went 3-1 with Warriors.
Yeah, so I went 3-1 with Warriors, losing the last round 8, to what unfortunately ended up being a pair down. I didn't realize it at the time when the matchup happened. I didn't ask him what his record was. It's not something I typically do. I just assume things are like I'm paired up against the right people, but it's something I'm going to be better about in the future.
Okay.
Not that it necessarily mattered. We could have played. We might not have had a game. Who knows? Because my opponent being X3 going into the last round was out of contention for the top cut for top 8.
Sure,
he was playing to try to get top 16. And
there was some sort of prizing for top 16. Right.
Yeah, top 16 got a binder with 9 full art from the set that were signed by the artist.
signatures. Yeah.
Okay. And So this individual's name was Wild Soul. He was a very kind fellow, and it was an interesting matchup because you could tell he was very nervous. It was probably the most interesting matchup of the day because it's one of the only rounds I actually went to time, and I ended up conceding in the last turn of time rather than taking a double loss. And it ended up at the end of it, I ended up 5-3 overall, placing exactly 16th. Fortunately, my tiebreakers were pretty good.
Yep. So you got in there. So both you got in there for the binder then, right? So,
yeah, I think Ryan and Alex both got top 16, if I remember correctly. The three of us made it to top 16. I think Ryan was 11th, and Alex, you were 13th, or was it the other way around? Something like that.
The way
it
around.
was like the other way around.
I got 11th, and then Ryan got 12th.
12th, that's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 11th, 12th, and 16th. So then that makes you guys the three. Hey, look, the Warring Triad players and the top 3 performing spots for North America. I know that.
Yeah, I think we were the only NA reps to make it to top 16.
Okay. Which is definitely.
If I remember correctly,
I know everybody would have preferred to make it to day 2, but still quite an accomplishment, among the team to be the highest performing people at the tournament. So that's a great accomplishment for all 3 of you. So.
Interestingly enough, losing to the pair down in the last round meant one X3 actually got to make it into top 8, which ended up being Daniel Gulius.
Oh, right. Yes.
So he was X3 going after the last round and slipped into 8th place with incredible tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Because I lost the pair down. Whereas if I had won that pair down, I would have been X2. I would have been guaranteed top 8, and Daniel wouldn't have made it. So it was an interesting spot. Like, it was fortunate for him, less fortunate for me. But regardless, it's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, right?
Yeah, for sure. Alex, you want to
his
tell us
strength
about...
of schedule? I was just going to make a note that Ghoul's strength of schedule was crazy. It was like 5 straight wins, and then the unfortunate 3 losses afterwards. But I mean.
Wasn't it something dumb? I think I looked the sheet for it, and his first tiebreaker was 72% or something. Like the opponent's
win almost percentage. As high as it can get.
Yeah. It was just stupidly high. But I mean, that's that's why that tiebreaker matters. So anyway, Alex, what was your experience like?
So out of 8 rounds, first round, unfortunately was a team match. I had to play against Estelle, and that was unfortunate. I did not want that to happen so early, and it did. I managed to get that match and then go to the second round. I played against Eureka. Finally got to play against him for the first time and get to introduce myself. So that was very nice. He is no longer just a mysterious person online. So it feels good to put a face to a name in person. That was a very intense match. He played Wind, Earth, Cat 12. And it basically just got down to the wire. But I very much thoroughly enjoyed that match. And then went to match 3. Unfortunately, I do not remember what my match 3 deck was against. But I did take that one. And then I was on stream for round 4, playing against Shonen. And unfortunately, got double Odin EX burst.
Oh, man.
Sometimes that happens, and sometimes it happens on camera, and you just kind of have to accept it. So that was very fun though. He was a very, very great player. And then that concluded my first half of Worlds. My deck A was Warriors. So I went 3-1 with Warriors. And then my second half of Worlds, my deck B was Knights. I won the first match. I lost the second. I won the third one, and then I lost the last one. And most of those matches just kind of felt like a blur to me because Knights just goes burr, whether it wins or loses.
Yeah.
So but I do remember that my last opponent was Sid from Japan, and it
Oh,
was
I
very
liked
cool.
it. Was
Yes,
cool watching him play. He's a really cool guy.
yes, he's a really cool guy. I was very happy and thankful to have had the opportunity to play against him, and then he made it to top 8 from that match. So, but yeah, he was playing Warriors and I was playing Knights, and so that he had both
I think I've heard about that
Amaterasu
matchup
and
before. Yep.
Rusikilev. Yeah, and I was just like, oh, you have 2 cancels.
Yeah.
Okay, it's gonna scoop. So yeah, that was essentially my run. So deck A Warriors was 3-1 and deck B Knights was 2-2.
It's an interesting
My
parallel there that both of you went 3-1 with your warrior decks, respectively, and then
Yeah,
2-2 with the non-warrior deck.
which goes back to the sentiment that it is a very great, well-rounded deck.
Yeah.
And no matter what the situation is, you have some means of contending with it. And that was definitely the thought process behind like why we decided to run Warriors, at least for like Ray and I. So yeah, Knights didn't do as hot as I wanted it to, and that's
Too many
because
Warriors in the
Corilla.
room.
Yeah, and I think it would also help if Corilla would not whiff. At least for me, that ended up happening at Worlds, and she was not very kind to Ray and I. So it was so funny too because even the matches that I won, she like would flip over one mate, and I'm like, all right, well, I have to work with this. And it's just so funny because between rounds, I would go to Ray and be like, Ray, how's it going for you? And he's just like, I'm so out. Like Corilla whiffed on the first one. I played Renoa, I flickered her, and I still whiffed. And I'm like,
Oh man, that's when you know that just the TCG gods are not with you that day.
but just like, so yeah, that it's still a good, like, it's obviously still great on paper, but because the flip 5 mechanic, it sometimes gives you exactly what you need and then some, and then it takes away as much as it gives.
Yeah.
So
kind of goes to your
but yeah,
theme
that
about how
was
there's stuff that's always going to be out of your control, right? And Kirilla
yeah.
flips is one
And
of them. So
similarly, Wool 7 flips can sometimes be the same way.
yeah.
And funny enough, I literally had told Julian and Ray that like I didn't want to take Wool 7 simply because sometimes, like, as I was playing in between Nats and Worlds with Wool 7, I was starting to like really miss on the reveals. So I
The
was just
variance is
like,
catching up.
yeah. Yeah, so I was just like, y'all, I don't want to do this. And they're like, okay. But then we did Knights, and then there's Corilla, and I don't know why I didn't put 2 and 2 together. That like, oh, this is another flip 5 mechanic.
I always joke that Ryan Chen calls it the cursed mechanic, right? Anything where you have to flip and then you might get something, you might not. He is like totally against any effect that's like that because it's as he puts it, the cursed mechanic. So
It definitely can be cursed. And I think for us, we were definitely in that weird in between of like, you might get it.
Yeah.
You might. Just a little bit.
So one thing I wanted to ask both of you, just thinking about the differences of Worlds, is that Worlds it's an event that's run by Hobby Japan directly, as opposed to everything else. I mean, like obviously it goes all the way down to like events that we ourselves have been involved with running, but also the difference between that and like Square running an event. So like, was there anything that stuck out to you about Hobby Japan running the event that was just different or better or worse or whatever than kind of your other experience with organized FFTCG tournaments?
I'd say it was really efficient. There wasn't like, if I remember correctly, there wasn't a whole lot of lag in between rounds. Judges were pretty on top of things as well, just with like managing judge calls and match slips and just keeping people moving and progressing towards the goal of getting everything submitted before things got out of hand. I don't remember feeling particularly stressed about time or anything like that regarding like how long the day went. I felt like it was pretty well done overall.
Alex, any thoughts on
I definitely agree. Like it just felt very like clean cut, well organized. The flow of the tournament never felt like it dragged on at all. Like I think it's just a testament to how you have very experienced staff running a very high level event. And like the most amazing venue. Oh gosh.
the
Like
view out the windows at that place? Like any window you could see outside, you're like, God, that's gorgeous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Every round I went to like this little corner where you saw like the Shibuya scramble crossing, and I was like, oh, this is what Rufus Shinra feels like when he's looking out of his window, because it felt like it's such a beautiful view. Like what an insane view. Like just the day and the night. Like the location is beautiful. The inside of the office is also like really cool. Like I love the ambiance.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the event, like great venue, great staff, very efficient. It was awesome. Like the fact that I could say that I'm a part of it was great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, you both talked a little bit about certain opponents you played against, but is there anybody else that you want to bring up that you played against, or even just people, even if you didn't play against them, that you got to meet, being that we obviously everybody's coming together from around the world, but whether you played them or not, just any individuals you want to call out that it was cool to meet, or just positive experience playing against them or something?
I ended up having to play Ryan Chen at the tournament.
All the way across the world to play against Ryan Chen again.
Yep, it was the third time we played against each other in competitive environments, and he ended up getting that match, and it felt kind of brutal. He dismantled me. I didn't know how to approach that matchup in any way that felt meaningful, and he knew exactly what he was doing. So,
which deck were you on for it?
I was playing Mono Earth in his Ice Earth control list.
Okay.
And it was certainly a lesson for me in that instance. But aside from playing against him, I mean, I played against a lot of wonderful players. It ended up being that my MVP card of the weekend was Sid Randell.
Nice.
I basically ended up getting a free win against Anthony Pigio because I turn one Sid Randelled, and he was playing wall 7, and he didn't draw an answer, so the game was over. And there was a Knights player that I turn one Sid Randelled going second, and he couldn't draw an answer, so the game was over. And I was already playing Warriors into both of those matchups. Like it was a case of like I was feasting and they were famine.
Oh, okay. I've heard that Sid Randell's been making a bit of a comeback recently. It sounds like I haven't got to play much this set, but sounds like he's...
Well, if anyone's doing that this set, I feel like it's definitely Marcus.
I have been playing with ice cards, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I guess I could talk a little bit about players that I've played against. Every person I play against, just generally going forward, in case I don't verbalize that, it is always a pleasure to be able to play. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be able to play with other people from different regions, especially because like these moments, these experiences are not guaranteed. So the ability to do so and the opportunity to have a match is very enriching and wholesome. Just being able to kind of get to know someone intellectually via cards is always great. So that being said, I think one of the meetings with a player that I did enjoy was Tin Tran from Texas. I like followed him on like X and Twitter stuff, and like we've been following each other for a while and like supporting each other online for like FF stuff. And so like being able to like actually like meet him in person that was really fun. Getting to also outside of play, getting to meet more of like the Texas crew. Um, that was really awesome, especially because they started coming to like our events, like the Winter Cup and the Materia Cup. And so getting to know our neighbors a little bit more definitely feels really great.
Was there
It helps to
anybody
kind of
in
bring.
so I was gonna say, was there anybody in particular that you got to meet at Worlds that you were excited to meet that you hadn't like that you'd known from online or whatever? Like kind of like you mentioned Eureka putting a face to the name. Was there anybody
Actually,
else?
I think Eureka definitely.
Yeah,
Uh, getting to meet the other Jared
the
was
other Jared
definitely.
W from Seattle.
Yeah, yes, very much so. I think um, that was definitely like a go first full circle moment because when I remember like starting and stuff like that, like there's always this person who's talking about cards and stuff
Mm.
in like Japanese and in English, and
Oh
so like
yeah,
at the time like obviously I didn't know the context and stuff like
yeah,
that, but being a big follower for a very long time, and always keeping an eye out for the stuff that he posts and the types of discussions he has like in Discord and
mm.
elsewhere and abroad. Like that was also very. It felt really cool to just be like, oh my gosh, like how you doing? Like
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
shake his hand, you get to know him a little bit more, and then actually play a game with him, and like just like with Ryan, like you can see
yeah.
the genius.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then what is it? The Japanese players, the European players, like it was so great to get to know them.
Mm.
And also like I love Worlds for being a place to facilitate these types of meetings, mostly because like they're forced, like you have to play against these people,
Yeah.
um, but it's like it was really great to play against Sid, and then like Shonen, like that was incredible. That was very very awesome. And then what else? Even outside of the event, like I went to go play at Grand Panda in Akihabara at their local event, and I got to meet Hide. Um, and that was really cool.
Mm.
So a lot of these Japanese players that I do follow on social media,
Mm-hmm.
being able to get to introduce myself and talk to them for the first time felt really awesome. So,
That's great.
um, like I said, it's a privilege to be able to play cards with other people across the world. So, the
Mm.
fact that we and I was able to do that is always amazing. So,
All right, I think we're gonna start to kind of conclude things a little bit here, but kind of looking at now past the tournament at that point. But, so we talked about where both of you ended up at there. Just if there's kind of any thoughts on the experience afterward, reflecting on it. I think we already talked a little bit about like what changes you might consider as far as deck choices and things, but like I guess just looking back at the experience in general, playing at Worlds and just like if you were personally satisfied with like your level of preparation for it and just the overall how everything went, even if you didn't get to make day two and so a little disappointment there, but just kind of reflecting back on it. Marcus, if you want to go first and
Sure.
kind of your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think my level of preparation was good. I think me and Estelle put in a lot of effort, a lot of energy, along with many of our locals, but into preparations for the event. I think the area where we may have messed up was being a bit tunnel visioned on some of our options. We were kind of locked in relatively, well, I was locked in relatively early, and that led me to making some judgments about cards that ended up being inaccurate. Like I said, I didn't play Clive Ifrit, Zonde, or Seymour in my list for Worlds for Warriors,
Mm.
and I didn't necessarily miss them in the context that like my deck functioned the way it was designed, with the testing that we had done, but I was putting a lot of weight into aspects of the deck that it, like just ended up failing me in round 8. I didn't have enough avenues to deal with cards like Yuzuki to actually manage boards that got out of hand. In our testing for the Warriors matchup, it was literally just get ahead, dull freeze, and attack, and just keep them from being able to block. And when you don't see an Ish in 35 cards of your 50 card deck with 3 Ish in it, it's hard to make that happen.
Yeah, that's tough.
So regardless, I don't really need to talk about that matchup anymore. It's more just the thought that like we didn't do enough varied testing, even if we did a lot of testing. And I think this coming year that will be different.
Well, it's good to take away some the learning experiences of it and everything, and kind of where to then focus things moving forward. Is there anything else about the kind of the tournament weekend? I guess I know that both of you stayed in Japan longer, but as far as the tournament kind of itself, anything else that you want to say about your experience there?
The event on day 2 was amazing. It was just a single elimination, or not single elimination. It was just Swiss rounds. No prize on the line. They did raffles every round, and they gave it a lot of really cool sleeves. And again, got to play more games against individuals who I never would have played games against otherwise.
It seems really cool. Sorry to interrupt you, but it seems really cool because like it's a way to then play against those same people we were just talking about, but in such a lower stress situation, right? Because it doesn't matter, like, or other than bragging rights, I guess. But anyway,
there was a lot of
we
laughter
actually talk to each
the
other.
room.
Yeah.
And it was like there's something somewhat almost cathartic about sitting down across from somebody who you and that person maybe share 24 words in a language, right? And other than that, don't actually speak the same language, and still being able to get through a 30-minute game where simply by nature of understanding gestures and simple phrasing, you're able to navigate the matchup and actually like communicate in a way that it transcends language in its own way.
That's pretty wild. Yeah, to think of it that way. Just the commonality of understanding the game being the medium with which you're able to kind of communicate that shared experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
Alex, anything you want to say about just looking back at your experience there, or anything you would have changed, or if you're happy with your preparation or your deck choices?
Like I said, like my preparation was very much like I just leave it in the hands of my teammates. I will say, gotta love Julian because he was definitely the one to organize, play practices for me, and just kind of be like, we need to run like a bunch of practice games and make sure that like you have all this down. And he's constantly thinking about cards and stuff like that. Like, to be honest, a lot of that preparation, a lot of the brain work that went behind my personal successes, I literally couldn't have done it without him. He thinks of everything and continues to just live and breathe this game in a way that's so formidable that I'm just like, oh, you're so genius. So I think in terms of like my personal preparation, like all of that I owe to like my great team, but first and foremost, like definitely Juju. He what is it? He's there in the discussions figuring out like decks for Ray and I, and he definitely bounces off of Ray like a lot stronger than I do. And I may chime in here or there, but like I just feel like the peanut gallery. So peanut pilot. But yeah, outside of that, I felt okay with my preparation. In true Alex fashion, I procrastinated until the last day to get my stuff in order and my deck list like sorted with its ratios. That needs to improve, just like on a personal level. But and making sure that I do bring all my limit breaks, so I don't have to last minute rely on.
You got to deck
people.
check yourself. I guess you weren't finalized, but yeah, deck check yourself before you leave the country, right?
The crazy thing is, before we left Akihabara, I literally deck checked my like I put it all together.
Yeah.
I deck checked everything, and the one thing I remember not doing was putting my limit break deck together, because I'm just like, oh, I have the limit breaks like on the side. I'll just put it together the night before. Does it the night before. Realizes I don't have the LB. I did that to myself. So I was fully prepared to just take a game loss. But fortunately, KP was there for me. So thank you. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for preparation.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much, both of you guys, for sharing your experiences throughout the whole season up through Worlds and your insight and all of that. It's been just fascinating to kind of hear your individual stories and the where they were similar and where they diverged, and kind of the different roads that you each took to get to Worlds there and stuff. And again, being in the top 16 in a room of 56 of the best players in the world is still like just quite an accomplishment there. Before we wrap up for good here, just give each of you a chance if you want to have any shout outs or plugs or anything you want to share before we hit the stop button on the old recording here. And I'll stick with what I've been doing pretty much all night long so far. We'll have Markus go first if you want to share anything with us before we wrap up.
Sure. Yeah, I would just say if you want to get any really competitive level playtesting in, there's a weekly Discord tournament every Thursday on Kassar's Games Discord channel. It's a free entry, 8 p.m. PS or EST Eastern Time, and it's first place gets a box of the latest set. So no cost to entry. Competitive players playing, players that participated at Worlds and at Nationals. Like, you're going to get good testing against these players, and if you go undefeated, you get a nice little treat at the end.
That's quite a prize for a free entry there. So
it really is.
It's pretty awesome. Any other shout outs or anything?
No, that'll be it from me.
All right, Alex, you got anything you want to share before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I'll be a broken record. Shout out Julian. Just the literal cornerstone of every success I've had in this game has been his hands are all over it. He definitely is the main driving contributing factor behind all of that. So and he is definitely the reason why I'm even here. So I have a lot to owe to that man, and it's just a continuous testament to his greatness as a player, but also as a human being. Other shout outs, Ray, big shout out to Ray. Love Ray. Shout out to the boys. Shout shout out to all my wonderful Bay Area friends and players. This region is very fun, and I'm so happy that from the seeds of the small efforts, that something beautiful and big as this region has bloomed. So definitely a big shout out to Bay Area players. Shout out to all the friends in the country, and all the new friends I met abroad.
And all the new friends you're gonna make.
Yeah. So true, right? Man, there's so many people to thank. It's what is it? This community is so wonderful in the sense that we are close knit, and it does kind of feel like a big family in a lot of aspects. And I'm very thankful that everyone reaches out to me and others with kindness, empathy, and fun. So thank you.
All right, awesome. I'm going to say for my own part before we wrap up that that was a bad time to have a hiccup. I'm going to say that I consider myself lucky to have connections to all three of the play groups that are represented here, having started playing in the Bay Area and moving to Seattle, and then especially over the last year, if not a little bit more than that, getting to meet so much of the Portland community and seeing so many of all you guys and gals down there. So I got a lot of love for all three groups in our little Warring Triad here. But more broadly, to kind of echo Alex, I guess. Just love for the FFTCG community. So yeah, for all you who are watching this and are still with us at this point, thank you for watching and being a part of this. If you want to see more of us discussing things, then you should let us know. You should comment about this. You should reach out, whatever. Just say, hey, you know what? That was a fun discussion. I'd like to hear more from these fine people. And we'll see if we can put something together there for you. But hope that was as enjoying. That's not. I can language right now. Hope that was as enjoyable for all of you watching as it was for me listening to their stories. And yeah, thanks for being a part of this and watching. And yeah, like I said, let us know what you think. And yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. We'll see you next time. So bye bye, everybody.
Bye.